Hello, 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 my friends. This is Dr. David, and I want to welcome you to my Freaky Friday AMA. Today, I decided to come on and hang out with you over lunch and maybe answer a few questions, talk about some of the things we got coming up that I'm really excited about. And Laura says, welcome to the Platinum Live sessions. Yeehaw, baby. So I see Lucy, I see Joey, I see Liam, I see Laura, I see John. People flowing in. Awesome. Always happy to see you guys. Let me go ahead and move that window over there so I can focus on my favorite people in the whole world at the moment, which are the ones on this live stream right now. So, hey, I'm here for next hour or so. What do you got for me? What do you want to know about? Did you guys check out the webinar on Wednesday night or what? Liam says, I'm excited about the expo. It looks amazing. It's going to be cool. And, you know, I can't speak too much, but they've really given Planet David a lot of stage time and they got a lot of other things planned because they like what we do with our YouTube channel and stuff like that. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff at the expo. And you can get your free tickets. All you got to do is go to this link right here. Scroll down, you'll see attend virtually, attend live, upgrade to VIP. I recommend you upgrade to the VIP if you're gonna, you want the biggest bang for your buck. But you don't have to travel to LA. But if you are in LA, I would love to see you. So by all means, if you have questions about the expo, what I'm going to be doing at the expo, ask away. Madi Shabbat says, how lucky are we? Greetings from Israel. Greetings, Madi. You've been around forever. You're one of the old schoolers, man. Nacho Business. Hi. Paul. Hey, say Paul. Shrush Cohen. Hello, I just took your course. What is the fastest way to control my state and change it from one state to another? Posture and breathing. Posture and breathing. Why are there people in my waiting room? Sorry, guys, I'm live streaming from Zoom so I can use the virtual background. Not that I have a backdrop anyway, but I just want to promote. So yeah, I'm not letting people into my Zoom chat right now. So if you want to interact with me, it's almost exclusively through going to be through the Zoom, through the YouTube. Nacho says the quickest way to become happy. Change your posture, change your breathing, focus on all the things you're grateful for. You'll become very, very happy. Lasse Stenwall says, Sweden is watching and listening. Sweden in the house. All right. There's Seth. Hey, Seth. Inre Halsa Hypnosis. Hi. Kathleen M. Hi. Kevin Hardy. Hey. Joe Hermie Padana. You were just in my waiting room. When to stop the echo technique? When it's inappropriate to do it. In other words, what I mean by that is, when you need to talk about something that, when you use the echo technique to guide people where you want them to go and to keep them talking, when it become, I don't know there's ever a time to stop the echo technique, but when it's visibly making them pissed in spite of the fact that you're actually trying to do this for their benefit, that will be the time to stop and then go to other things. That's probably the only time I can think of to stop using the echo technique. There's Matthew Boyd. Ashlyn, Rosa Flame, hi from Colorado. Aquarian, hi. Heather, hey. See, I checked my analytics. It turns out that the time that most of you guys are on YouTube is right about this time. So I think I timed it pretty well. Power Incarnate says hello from Mexico. All right. Justin Dean, hi. All right. So quick question. What do you guys want to know about? What are your questions? While you got me. How many of you did you guys all get my email about the Best You Expo? Yes or yes? Stephen Wright, Manchester. Stephen, I haven't seen you in forever, man. Good to see you again. Aquarian, I see Aquarian. I think I got everybody else. If I did not get you, please shout me out again and I will fix that. Okay. Public speaking late at Tina Letter says no. Well, in that case, use this link and get your free tickets to the Best You Expo. I'll be there all weekend. We're going to have a booth. I'm going to have a team of people. We're going to be if I'm not on stage, I'm going to be at my booth or in the inspiration zone doing phobia cures, removing people's blocks of success, doing energetics, self-defense training, everything in my catalog. Bernardo's asked me to just kitchen sink everything. So by all means, if you can be in LA, I would really love you to come out and see me. It's free unless you want to upgrade to VIP, which you're the only one who can decide if you're important enough or not. But the tickets are free. You can attend virtually live. Go ahead and click this link in the chat to go to the page and get your free tickets. If you have questions on how to do it, I can always screen share you and walk you through how to do that, because there was some confusion before because there was some mess up with the links. So I just want to make sure everybody gets access to it. Okay, so Liam is out. Catherine is saying, what? Oh, wait, that's a Zoom link. Wait a minute, what's up? Hold on a second. Did I just post that? No, that is not the link. Never mind, hold on a second. Something happened here. I'm not sure exactly what. My bad. Here's your link, guys. I'm sorry. For those of you who want the free tickets. Aquarian says, do I use breathing techniques? Yes, I use a lot of different breathing techniques depending on what I want to do. Yeah, my apologies. I'm going to post the actual link a couple of times here, just so for people who clicked on the wrong link and wound up in my Zoom room. I don't know how that happened. I didn't cut and paste the invite link. I think Zoom did that automatically. It's very weird. Okay. Yeah, I figured it out, Laura. Thanks. Lady Tina says, I live in LA. Very cool. I hope we see you. Ashlyn says, got to get back to work. Take care, Ashlyn. Browsing YouTube when I got the ding. Where can I go for the next level of healing sounds? And what does your Taoist class cover? Okay, so I will be doing some healing sound work, very little at the Best You. And largely because the deeper I get into the Chinese energetic medicine stuff, the more I realize that depending on how deep you get into energetics, if you don't have someone guiding you, you can get in a little bit of trouble. So I spend my time giving you stuff that's absolutely safe. But for my mega platinum people, these are my top tier coaching clients right now. They get access to everything. And because it's a smaller group, we have special retreats just for the mega platinums. I can give those people who are in the mega platinum group, the advanced stuff, because I can monitor their progress and make sure they're not going off on tangents and things like that. So if you want to, now there's lots of people teaching healing stuff out there. There's another way to do it. And you can go to the guy I train with. His name is Dr. Jerry Allen Johnson. If you go to, not jerryallenjohnson.com. Oh, it's pianwagong.mykajabi.com, or you can type in Taoist Magic, I think is the .com, and you can find his stuff. I gotta warn you, he's extraordinarily prolific. So if you want more information on some of that stuff, he's probably the best, safest resource I've found. I'll be honest, I've been exposed to a lot of Qigong practitioners and masters and things like that. I've met very few people that I trust as implicitly as I trust Dr. Johnson and his work. So for those of you who want to work with me, start by showing up at the Best You Expo. Click that like button, click that share button. I'm starting to get the YouTube fever now where I have to remind people to like and share and all that good stuff, right? But really come to the Expo. If you can't attend live and in person, do your best to attend virtually. I'm not sure what the union rules are for the Expo, but I'm going to try to do some live streams from my booth, in addition to everything that the Best You is going to be doing. So I don't really know what that looks like just yet. We're still in the early stages. I do know that there will be 7 different talks I'm doing, plus Bernardo wants me to do energy work. He wants me to do some interventions in the inspiration zone. He wants me to do, did I mention self-defense, energy, self-defense, interventions, you name it. If it's in the catalog, we're probably going to do it. We're even teaching a face reading class, a short face reading class at the Expo. And he was actually the most excited about that one, believe it or not. Power on, can you give us a quick example of a yes set and how to do it without sounding weird? Well, you know how sometimes when you're watching a video and the guy asks you a question and you start to think about it, right? And when you think about it, the more you think about the question, the more sometimes the question, you're not sure where he's going, but eventually you figure out that all he's really doing is asking questions that you have to either externally or internally say yes to, so that, and you just start to follow along. And when you realize that's happening, you know, it's always a good idea to just keep following along because it's for your best interest. And that does make sense, doesn't it? So I can either confirm or deny whether that was a subliminal yes set or not. Do I use breathing techniques? The inspiration zone, Heather, to my understanding, hey, Dee from New Zealand. Okay, so Aquarian's asking, what breathing techniques can you recommend to meet with Hermes? The closest lineage I have to Trismegistus would be the Egyptian system, the Merkaba system by Drunvalo and Melchizedek. That's probably going to get you there faster. But pretty much any mystical tradition, when you get in deep enough, will allow you to kind of communicate with those teachers and stuff. The inspiration zone, to my understanding, is kind of like a courtyard where people hang out, and it's almost, the way I think of it is kind of like on Fremont Street for self-help people, right? Where you got all these different people hanging out, and they're giving little mini lectures and demonstrations and things of that nature. And that's my understanding of it. I could probably go through the brochure and get a much more detailed explanation. But that's my understanding of the inspiration zone, right? Which is why I'm building a team, because one of the things, there's going to be like somewhere between 10 and 13,000 people there, right? And I hope you will click this link and be one of those. So I'm building my team. I'm going in there with a team of people, and what they're going to be doing, aside from promoting us, what they're going to be doing is actually doing change work on people. They're going to read faces. They're going to take care of phobias. They're going to get rid of pain. They're going to, all right. So that to me is, I think, the biggest advertisement of what goes on here at Planet David is not just me, but people who can actually do this stuff anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, and for any reason. And I'm excited about that because it shows the skill level that our people tend to exhibit. Because again, it's not, to me, it's not real if I'm the only one who can do it, right? If I can teach other people to do it, then I know that it's valid and we're not deluding ourselves, right? Just my little thing. Julie says, I look like a projection on a screen. Sorry, but I have to say what I see. Well, you can say what you see because I'm real. The projection is behind me. So that might have something to do with it. Heather says I will be online. Very cool. Brick T says, hey, David, how can we practically take advantage of the law of resonance and connecting with nature? Okay, so I think I know where you're going with that question, but if you can ask it in a little bit more of a specific context, I can probably give you a better answer. Paul says, I got a hot date tonight, looking to blow her mind. Thank you for everything you taught me. You are welcome, Paul. Blow minds, take names, rock worlds. You know what I'm saying? That's where we start. Nathan Mayer says, what is remote viewing? Remote viewing is the ability to access information from locations remote in time and space from you without the use of technology. So think of it like psychic scrying or psychic clairvoyance, right? That's kind of what it is. Remote viewing was a term coined by Stanford Research and the CIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, for their psychic spying program, remote viewing. And Arwala says, looking good, man. Thank you. I went a little casual today. I left the vest unbuttoned because what the hell, right? It's a Friday. not just asking how long is the longest orgasm, you know, it's like hours. If you actually Google it, like Guinness Book of World Records, longest orgasm, I think it was ridiculous, whatever it was. And then you have to qualify it in human beings or in animals, right? Different question. And Mr. T, hey, David, what do you think about hypnotic symbolic language? David Grove. Are you talking about clean language from David Grove or something different? I'm not familiar with the hypnotic symbolic language stuff. I am a little bit more familiar with the clean language stuff. So I can't really comment too much, but I like what I've heard from the clean language stuff. Power incarnate. Can someone learn to do that? Do what specifically, Power? The yes that I just did? Absolutely. It's basic training in all of our persuasion and influence courses. In fact, we'll probably be doing a version of it next week at Attraction Mastery in Las Vegas. Best technique for psychic self-defense: clean up your shit, connect to God. Everything else is an addition, right? I taught this actually, how long ago was it? It was a Killer Influence. I talked about it. But I get this question a lot in the fields of energetics. You know, one of the things you need to understand is that if someone's determined to mess with you, there's always a way in. The two most bulletproof ways to protect yourself against psychic attack. And psychic attack, there's so many different forms of psychic attack. Advertising is technically a psychic attack. You have to clean up your shit, because usually the way into your system is through some unresolved trauma or limiting belief or complex that you have inside. That's actually the way in. So the fastest way to inoculate yourself against external attack is to clean up your shit. The next one is to develop a deeper and deeper and deeper resonance and integration with your three bodies and source. If you can do that, then it's like, well, if you can imagine, for example, a spaceship, right, flying towards the sun, it's only going to get so far before it burns up. That's what being connected to source is like. It's not that the people aren't going to launch these attacks at you. It's that they just don't get close enough. And when they do, they bounce off or they burn up. So those are the two things that again, you can wrap all the white light around you want. Someone's armed with language patterns, their shit's going right in. If someone has stronger energy field than you, their shit's going right in. If someone has a deeper connection to source than you, or access to a more powerful, malevolent entity than your connection to source, it's going in. Okay. You got to understand that. It's kind of like the bigger and stronger you are, the easier it is to fight off lots of bad guys, right? So again, and these are two things, by the way, these are two things that are in everybody's control, especially if you're here in Planet David, because we give you the tools, both for free and then if you want to upgrade and learn more, we give you that stuff. We tell you how to go in and fix your shit. Right? We tell you how to deepen your connection to source, how to cleanse your energy field and all that. In fact, I'll be teaching some of that stuff at the FSU Expo. For those of you who want to learn more about that, you can click the link right here. But those are the two big ones. You know, if you got those two, you're pretty good, right? Then you can always add other things. There's always other things you can bring in. But if you can't do those, you know, public speaking lessons, when you say clean up your shit, clean up your traumas, clean up your angers, your resentments, your sadnesses, your guilt, your frustrations, your shames, your beliefs. They're all windows into your system that people can exploit. The more you clean them up, the more non-reactive you become, which is a symptom of how bulletproof your psychic shields are. And when I say non-reactive, I don't mean dissociated. It means that the things that used to trigger you don't, right? It's not that they trigger you and you suppress it. That's not what we're talking about. Or they trigger you and you dissociate from it. It's just they don't trigger you, right? Or you can remember a time when it used to trigger and realize that, oh my God, I'm different now, right? That's what I mean. That's non-reactiveness, right? Or in the ancient systems, it's called dispassion, or viragya. If you ever heard, there's actually a mudra called Viragya Mudra, which is designed to accelerate and amplify that state. But if you don't have the internal work, this isn't going to help you. me see here. Some good questions. Brick T says, please elaborate whatever you know about entities and how to connect with them or create elemental. I know a lot about that, actually. I won't talk about it in public, though. I did. In fact, the last 2 months of my my coaching program, they all learned how to do that stuff: create thought forms, program them, dissolve them, modify them, things of that nature. So I do teach it. There's certain things I won't let out. So, but if you want to get access to that, start by coming to the Expo, right, which is free, right? And then I'll point you in the direction of where to go to get more stuff. Let's see here. Rob Robertson. Hey, David. Hi back, Robert. D. McC. Are our thoughts our own, or are we just thinking things that have already existed long before we were born? Are they new or just old stuff that has already been thought before us? The answer is yes. There's really nothing new under the sun or behind it. So thoughts have patterns and structures, whether they're the exact thought we had years ago or in other lifetimes, what have you. Probably not exact, but close enough in structure to be pretty universal from human being to human being. That's what NLP kind of taught us, was that it doesn't really matter how individual you think you are. It's still the same autonomic nervous system with the same operating system, creating what you believe are individualized thoughts that all have a similar structure. And that's not a bad thing, right? Because it gives us tremendous power over what we think and how we choose to think. But there is this aspect of free will that does come in. So at any given moment, you have a choice of what to do with the decision and what decisions to make and how to interpret the events in front of you. And those interpretations will determine which direction your consciousness elevates or submerges to, and the life directions that you take on because of the choices that you make. I hope that answers your question. Nathan, is it true that the unconscious mind is coextensive with the universe? I don't know what coextensive means. That's a new one for me. Can you elaborate on that word? Tanya Gallegos, how does it work? How does what work, Tanya? If you can elaborate on that or reference the question previously. Brick T, how would you practically explain the difference type of bodies like astral vibration? It's really just vibration and attribute. When you look at energetics, okay, and this goes back to the Rosicrucians, the Jesuit radiesthesias, some of the Hermetic stuff. Energy can be classified in what they call two scales: quality scale and a quantity scale. So when you're looking at, when we talk about quality scale, what we're really talking about are the attributes. What are the attributes that particular frequency manifests? And so you have a spirit, you have a divine flame, which is this is embodied in the soul, which creates the spiritual body, which creates the energy body, which creates the physical body. Each of these are just vibrational frequencies that have been drawn together through the force of gravity. The mind is gravity, so to speak. And so they all take on different attributes based on the frequencies inherent in them, right? Hope that answers your question. If not, give me a bit more specific question. Liam says, sorry, got excited. Okay. So, oh crap, hold on a second. It just jumped up. Let me get back to my horse stance because I need to train my back. Let's see here. Hareem Baller says, why do I feel more genuine and better talking to people focusing on my heart rather than my mind? Because your heart is the center of empathic connection, perception, and communication. In fact, in the last Killer Influence training we did, in our state control section, we have these things called bridging drills. And bridging drills are what allow us to use the holographic nervous system, the proprioceptive nervous system, the cardiac nervous system, and mirror neurons to bridge the gap between our neurology and somebody else's. And the part of you that manages that level of communication is the heart. The lower center manages kinesthetic perception and communication. The heart manages empathic communication. and the brain works with intuitive communication, or the upper center works with. And so what we did was we had people do the bridging drills, which work really, really well. And then we had them do the heart clearing sounds and vibrational clearing frequencies analogous to the heart. And then we had them redo the drills, and their level of perception went just skyrocketed. The signals that they got and the information that got transmitted back and forth was off the charts. People were profoundly amazed at how rapidly, by stimulating that center, they could actually amplify the level of rapport and connection they can get with people. So I normally don't teach those applications in that class, but I kind of wanted to test what would happen when we used something from my Chinese energetic medicine training to specifically enhance our influence applications. And it worked like gangbusters. So I was really pleased with that. So we'll probably do more of that in our future Defense Against the Dark Arts trainings, Killer Influence trainings, because it really does amplify and clear out the noise in those channels. So that might have, I'll give you a reason why. And she says, yes, clean language. So Brick 2 says, I vaguely know the topic to begin with. I just want a quick way to use resonances to be the same as nature and connecting my source of info to. Okay, so here's a lot of it goes back to what I was just talking to with Heron. A, clean out your energy centers, learn how to dissolve into the energy fields where you're at. So first you want to do is you want to create a safe energetic sanctuary to train in. Then you want to practice dissolving into the environment. Don't try to, because the idea is you have to dissolve the barriers, perceptual and otherwise, between self and other, and just melt. Think of like an ice cube melting into a tub of warm water, right? If you can do that and you stay in that space, then you will start to get more resonance with that. Okay, there are other things you can do, but that's going to be the safest one for you, right? Michael Lewis says, I don't know what that means. Matt Kevlar, La Rock, I dig your mug. Thank you. This was a gift from my wife. The coffee's mine though, right? Not your business, laughing my ass off. The psychic remote viewing, is it possible to learn it? Yes, there's lots of good teachers out there. I recommend you get people like Lynn Buchanan, some of the old guard while they're still around, learn from them. Okay. I think I backtracked enough. Let me see what else is here. Let's say that you're more connected to source. Can they easily take? No. No. The more connection you have to source and the more you take on the viewpoint or the perspective of source, the harder it is to affect you. Unless you want to be affected. How to clean up your energy. Nacho, come to the expo. I'm going to be doing some stuff in the inspiration zone for cleaning energy. I'll probably be doing the 3-phase pulling down the heavens process. And then you can use that really, really well. Kevin says, what's the fastest way to manifest money to travel to Vegas next week for your class? Sell a kidney. That is not medical advice. Really, the fastest way to do it is create a course and offer it to people for money, right? Get a bunch of people together, show them what you can do, make sure the audience has a high probability of wanting the same things you want, show them what you can do, give them a sample, tell them what to do next to sign up, get their credit card information, and do the work. Fastest way to do it. Okay. Roma MK. Hi, David. A long time no see. You won't believe what happened to me. Ooh, I feel a hook coming on there. All right. D, is Bart Baggett's work helpful in creating the reality we desire? Do words really shape our reality? Would intention specifically matter for this? Intention always matters. Bart, I love Bart's stuff. I started studying Bart's handwriting and graphoanalysis programs back in the 90s. He's kind of ventured periodically into relationships and self-help stuff. I haven't looked at a lot of that. I'm still on his mailing list. I get stuff from time to time. I hear he's starting a podcast or is doing a podcast with his sister. As far as his early graphoanalysis stuff, absolutely love it. I have his master training, his master class stuff. I used it for many years. So the short answer is I have a lot of confidence in Bart's early work. I haven't really sampled anything he's doing recently, but if the quality of his new stuff is anything like the quality of his old stuff, it's probably good. Julie, know thyself, be true. Okay, I don't know where that's coming from, but hey. Let's see here. Oh, every now and then I start to scroll down and it jumps. I get quantum leaps. So John is asking, oh wait, hold on a second. Bubba Hashmelt says, are evil entities like the Kleepot truly evil, or are they useful in certain contexts? Solomon certainly thought so, right? Entities, positive entities and negative entities exist. And whether they're evil, truly evil or not, really depends on your viewpoint, you know, where you're polarized at. I personally don't recommend entity work at all, simply because I'm a Kabbalist, and most of the things you would tap into entities for, you can do yourself. Entity work is kind of like the shortcut, and a lot of people like shortcuts, but there's always a price. Right? There's always a price. So I would always be very careful with that kind of work. John Pechkowski says, what do you say about the spiritual teachers who say all is manifestation versus all is destiny versus some who say it's both evenly? I think they're entitled to their opinion. That's what I think. I like to think that I have more control of my destiny than maybe I do. But I think we also manifest turning points in the track that we're on. As we change consciousness, the track we're traveling changes because our choices change. If it weren't possible to elevate our consciousness, there'd be no reason to even try to, be better, right? But the whole idea behind free will is that we actually can make a choice. And depending on the choices that we make, see, we're all going to wind up in the same place eventually. That's kind of the rub, the irony of it. Some of us will get, depending on the choices we make and how rapidly we elevate consciousness, we'll get to that point faster than others. How many reps? Kind of like golf, right? You keep stroking long enough, you'll eventually get the ball in the hole. The question is, are you going to get it on a hole in one, or is it going to take you 35 freaking strokes to get there? I think that's really what the choice that we have, right? And depending on how we work and develop our consciousness, clear our shit, remove the reactant side of us, the more clearly we can see this reality that we're in, and we make better choices. So that's how I think about it. Roma's asking, how about birds and animals? Do they have 7 bodies too? I don't know that anybody has 7 bodies. The problem with parsing energy, the layers of the energy field, is that there can be as many layers as you can describe and name. That's kind of the irony of it. I use a 3-body model. Some people believe you have a different astral layer or energetic layer for each of your 7 chakras. But then again, some systems have 12 chakras, some have 13. There's 360 acupuncture points, which are mini chakras, right? You have 12 primary meridians and 6 extraordinary meridians. What body are they in, right? Are they each their own individual body? I don't know. I like to keep things simple. The bottom line is does the model you're working with create the results you want in the amount of time that you want it? If it isn't, then you need to start challenging what you were taught, try and testing other things and see if there's anything faster or more effective for you, right? Most of the old schools I'm studying seem to revolve around a 3-body model. Okay. Sarah D says, can NLP cure? What is limerence? Is that a typo? Were you trying to spell impotence or whatever it was, Sarah? If you can retype it, I'm not sure what it is. Tanya Gallegos, let's say that we are closer to source and live life with a good, honest heart. Can someone easily enter and take, even though one is also strong? That really depends on the skill of the attacker, right? You have people who come into this world with the gift of the evil eye, and they just have a natural skill to put the whammy on people. But like I said, people how vulnerable you are to attack is largely a measure of your how much shit you've cleaned up, your connection to source, and how skilled the attacker is. Right? If you're dealing with like a level 50 black wizard who spent decades learning how to pierce people's veils and energy shields and things like that, yeah, you probably he has a better chance than somebody who's in the kindergarten level. You know what I'm saying? But those people, by and large, you're largely not, unless you are like a world power, you're probably not on their radar, to be honest. So there's two variables: your connection to source and the skill set of the person attacking you, right? Liam Folan, rapport wars was amazing. You like that, huh? Pretty cool. Donka says healing. Hi, Dr. David. Hi back. Miss Link 8. Thank you for answering my, what about placing energy grids around yourself while staying open to the world through heart energy? Again, connection to source, clean up your shit. Okay. And then factor in the skill level of the person who's seeking to penetrate your grid. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be very, very upfront. There's always a way in. But that way in can be easier or harder depending on the skill set of the people trying to get in. I'll give you this little tidbit, and then you can take with it what you want. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where the mind goes, energy goes. Where the energy goes, your physical body goes. Right? I've given you a lot in that one sentence. Meditate on it, contemplate it, think about it. Okay. Let's see here. For those of you who want to learn more, come see me in LA. Here's the link. And I would love you guys to just stampede the website and let Bernardo know that Planet David is coming in force. Show your support either virtually or in person. I want to do some raffles. So at the booth, so maybe what I'll do, as I'll do for at the Expo, what I do for HypnoThoughts every year, I'll take 5 or 6 of my my middle level programs, my Mondo Supremo, I Want It All packages, which is two VIP tickets to any live events on my 2023-2024 calendar, 5 days or less. Your choice of 2 full-length video courses available on my website for $19.97 or less, I think is what we do it for, and then 5 smaller video products. So what you do is if you click this link and you show up at the Expo, every few hours we're going to do some raffles at the booth, and we're going to give away some VIP tickets to trainings, live events, and products. Does that sound cool? What do you think? Do I use pentagrams for defense? Sometimes. Sometimes I use the Magen David. Sometimes I use the Triskelion, or the Celtic symbol for protection. Sometimes I use a pentagram. Really depends on what energy I'm resonating with at the time. Sometimes I use a cross. Okay. Fortunately for me, in my soul star, I have initiation to all those lineages, so I can use pretty much anyone I want. Irene says, thank you for your response. You're welcome. Dee says, thank you for answering my question. My pleasure. Joe, hey, David, what are the steps that you show when you imagine a ball and connect with your heart technique? Don't know what you're talking about, Joe. Cynthia Holly, good afternoon, David. Aquarian says, do you use pentagrams? I answered that one. Haram is asking, can affirmations over and over, regardless if you don't believe in it, the beginning still work? Positive ones to... The theory is if you repeat something long enough, your brain will accept it. The question becomes how many times you have to do that repetition, and is it practical to do that? I think it's true enough to be true. But because I understand human nature, if you don't believe it, and there's a lot of internal programming that says you can't have it or don't deserve to have it, it's going to take you a fucking long time. And by a long time, I mean years. Because you have to go, your body has to be willing to accept the new program, and then start changing you internally so that you start doing the things externally that allow you to become the person that can have those things. So the best thing to do is actually tackle the negative beliefs that say you can't have it first, and then apply high-level affirmation techniques. In our Hidden Laws of Attraction program, I give you some of the most powerful neurologically enhanced ways to do affirmations. They have nothing to do with the way most people do them. Okay. It's super powerful, but again, it's going to go to clearing your shit, cleaning your blocks, the things that say you don't deserve to have it, or you can't have it, or people who have the things you want are not good people. These are all things that come up that hold people back. Eric Loxo is asking, what is the most effective use of deep trance identification? Two that come to mind. One is if you're a marketer, you can step into the customer avatar of the people whose product or service you're directing it at and get deep insight into their life experience, so you can talk about it and prove to people that you understand their world, so they're far more likely to buy your product. The second one is, and by the way, that's also for empathic connection and communication. If you can do that, then you can easily gain deeper levels of rapport with other people as well. But I want to get very practical. The other thing that you can use it for is to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics in yourself of people that you want to be more like, so that you can custom design your identity. We do that full sequence of techniques is actually in the 7-stage identity by design process. We'll be teaching here in San Diego in March, towards the end of March. So for those of you who want to be able to do that stuff, get to the training, the Identity by Design training here in San Diego, Solana Beach specifically. You can go to davidsnyder.nlp.com/events. Scroll down, you'll see the Identity by Design training for March. Let's see here. Paris says, thanks for answering. Let me make sure I got everything. I don't know what limerence is. I'll have to look it up. Chances are, if it's an OCD type of a thing, NLP can at the very least make a dent. Okay, I'd have to research it a little bit more to give you a better answer. Tried Tom Vizini's golden bubble technique. I was successful at a few attempts, but I really don't know how to increase its effect and create the result I would want. That's because Tom never taught anybody how to amplify the power of it. And most people don't, because they're just happy they get the damn thing to work. The secret is polarity drills and postural drills. The more you can generate your stronger emotional amplitude, the more rapidly you can create a very powerful proprioceptive message. That's what sphere of influence does. Best way to learn that is to get stealth CPI or killer influence, especially the last one. We spent almost 2 whole days on nothing but the state control drills, the sphere of influence technique, the smurfing techniques, and the amplitude building drills that let it become unstoppable. So that in the short term is, I think we're the only ones really doing that level of work in that field. So I don't know how it happens. You'd have to ask, John is asking the question, why does energy go where our attention flows? Like, how does that happen? I don't know. You'd have to ask God. It just does. I didn't make the rules. I just report them. Let's see here. Daniel Rodriguez is asking, do you think spiritual teachers who require their followers to call them mama or auntie is a red flag for a cult? Also, witness her call. That would, every culture has their traditions. That would raise a red flag for me. Okay, but it's not but here's the thing though. In a lot of your kung fu schools, right, the old traditional kwoons that go back hundreds of years, it is not uncommon for a family structure to be part of that training. You would call an older student your older brother, or your you might call the the wife of the instructor, auntie or something. Again, it's different. I don't know what the tradition is you're coming from, but to me, those are kind of, you have to research that. Research the culture it comes from and what your own tolerances are. I try not to be too judgmental of other people's spiritual practices, but it is important to really understand when you're involved with a group of people that are more interested in making you a lemming and a follower than in helping you become the best version of yourself. Right. So, and one of the ways that you really can start to see those things is how they start to isolate you or separate you from the family, your family and friends and that life. Okay. And they'll use different excuses and tactics to do that. You have to decide where your happy place is. Some people are in cults, they know they're cults and they don't care because they're happy. Right. The question becomes, is the group, whether it's a positive cult or not, is that group actually limiting you or holding you back or letting you be what you want to be instead of who they want you to be? So it's a sticky wicket. So, but yeah, mamas, aunties, good boys, definite red flag for me. Definite red flag for me personally, right? Always Onward asks, do you know the wizard Liz on YouTube? I saw you named Liz was one of your I don't know which Liz you're referring to. I have a bunch of Liz's in Planet David. Tanya says, I've always been intuitive. I can feel what people are thinking. I've also been told I'm a light. Well, we're all lights, Tanya. That's the whole point. That's what public people. That's why face reading, faces can change when we fix our shit, right? But is there a question there? Let's see here. David Orman, Central Florida Sistema. Have you worked with radionics? And if so, I worked with radionics many, many, many years ago. I started studying the same thing most people do as Uncle Chucky. I can't remember his last name. He's a bit out there, but he's probably the top go-to guy on radionics and psionics and things of that nature. Again, it's psychic skills, but you use an externalized foci, a device basically that has no active properties at all as a focus. It's almost like it was almost a precursor to Richard Bandler's design human engineering, where in your mind, in trance, you create these little devices and mechanisms like sliders and dials and machines that perform these higher almost psychic functions. In psychotronics, you're using the same thing to do clairvoyance or psychic influence, things of that nature. It's still you doing it, but because you create a focus outside of yourself, and we've evolved as tool-using creatures, it somehow makes the work easier for people. So, again, played with it. I'd rather be self-contained. What do I think about Moldavite crystal? Evil? Absolutely not. Moldavite's one of the most powerful stones for healers that I know of. And I've seen that pretty consistent from the pranic healing training on gems. I haven't done the full gem training with Dr. Johnson yet, but I'm pretty sure Moldavite's going to come up. As far as I know, Moldavite's one of the most powerful healing stones that exist. But you would have to actually, and it's also a good protection stone for healers, as I recall. So I've never heard anything about it being evil. You can charge a stone to do anything you want, but as far as I know, it's a very benevolent or beneficial mineral. KR says, what is the best way for me to get elevated emotions? Control your posture, control your breathing, clean up your shit, and every day do a gratitude inventory of all the amazingly cool things in your life that you've got that you take for granted. I promise you, your emotions will elevate. Justin Dean, how to manifest more work opportunities and better health? Clean up your shit. Create some powerful holographic memory containers. Place them in your timeline. Set it and forget it. and then set out to become the person who can actually be the person who has it. Okay. So often we try to manifest things that we're not qualified to do yet. Like some people want to be a doctor who don't want to go to medical school. I'm making a big. So are you currently the person who can be that guy? or that girl, right? So set the intention, put it in your timeline, and then start taking the actual steps you need to do in the physical world to manifest that if you had done no manifestation at all. And if you combine those things, you'll tend to get there faster. But the universe will test you. And that's one of the big things you need to understand. This dimension we're all in is trauma school earth. Operative word being school, right? Everything you get is a test, right? Are you going to default to your animalistic programming or tap into your higher spiritual faculties? Not easy. I still struggle, right? Most of the people I know struggle. And anybody who says they're not struggling, probably trying to sell you something. Okay. So mix it with another meteor and I can control the room volume as well. I have no idea what you're talking about, Narwalis, but I'll just let you have that moment. Donka Healing, what's your view on eating cheese and wheat from a vibrational level? From a vibrational level, some vibrations that we ingest are healthy, some are not. If you do any form of Eucharistic work over the food, it will tend to be more healthy for you on a vibrational level. But if you're lactose intolerant, if your body has a natural sensitivity to these things, while blessing the food, like literally blessing and cleansing and purifying the food, can be very, very helpful. You need to clean up whatever's causing the actual sensitivity in the system. That's what I've seen. Clean up the shit before adding the new stuff. A lot of times doing a really clean diet for a year or so, a lot of times will start to resolve a lot of those food sensitivities anyway, and you'll have a higher tolerance for those problematic foods. Daniel's asking, oh wait, how would you describe energy itself? Energy can only be described in the context of two things, quantity and quality. What qualities does it express? Does it manifest, right? That's how I define energy, qualities and quantities. What qualities are being manifested and how much of it is there? How much amplitude does it have? Okay. Other than that, spirit is actually more important than energy. Alyssa J says, this is really good stuff. David, will you upload this will go live right after I log off, so you'll have it. Okay. But if you are enjoying the content that I'm providing, please go ahead and click this link and come see us either in person or virtually. I have to stress, there is a virtual option for the Best You Expo. Okay. All you got to do is go to that page, scroll down, and you'll see all the options. There's a view online, view in person, upgrade to VIP. You decide, what level of comfort you are and how much you want to hang out with us, right? But I would go and click that link right now and really let Bernardo know that Planet David is coming, and they're coming with bells on, and they're ready to party for 3 solid days of some of the best speakers and presenters out there, right? Let's see here. Jack says quartz crystal is good still for healing. Quartz is a generic amplifier. So when you work with quartz, you've got to program the quartz to do what you want it to do. Otherwise, it'll just randomly, it will tend to randomly energize and expand whatever fields it encounters. Quartz, one of the things I was taught is that, you have to cleanse a crystal and then you have to program the crystal. You have to literally give it instructions for it to perform the functions you want, right? I was taught never use quartz on people who have like cancer and things like that, unless you've got other stones to modulate or mediate its effects. Let's see. David says, which of my courses feature deep trance? Define deep trance, David. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's deep trance is a concept that is from classical hypnosis. What kind of trance characteristics are you looking for? Always Onwards is saying, do listening to subliminals work? Are they real? I've even seen some people say they make it by blood or, yeah, I wouldn't go there. Okay, so the way it was explained to me once by a very cynical hypnosis teacher, a guy by the name of Dr. John Cleveland, when I was living in Fort Lauderdale, he said he didn't put any stock in subliminals because that would be the equivalent of coming to me for a programming session and me doing this. So I would actually, if you're going to work with subliminals, I would make sure that the subliminal is not so low that you can't perceive it at all. If you can like strain your ears and hear the subliminals, I would give that, honestly, I would give that a better chance of working, simply because you consciously know something's happening. And then what happens is, at the very least, you engage the placebo effect, which works about 40% of the time on anybody. Right? And that's important to understand, is the placebo effect. If you apply a subliminal with absolutely nothing on it, but you believe it'll work, it has a 40% chance of working. And if you really believe it'll work, okay? If you have actual subliminal messaging on there and you're susceptible to subliminal programming, then whenever you are in a state that is conducive to you acting on the programming, you're likely to take those behaviors. Okay. So when it comes to working with subliminals, there's a lot more power in believing it will work for you than in the actual suggestions. So let's see here. Let's see here. Absolutely beautiful, David. Thank you. You're welcome, Justin. Elena, hold on, let me scroll up here to Elena. What is the main advice you would give for the hypnotherapist? How to help clients with maximum result? Screen your clients well. Okay. Make sure before you accept them as a client that they have the highest level of willingness and ability to follow your suggestions and obey your commands. The next thing I would do is teach them learn for yourself, and then teach your clients the 6 dynamics of an unconscious response. Understand the principles that underlie body-centered energetic psychotherapy. And if you come in with those things, you'll be able to solve any problem that comes your way, in my opinion, because that's what I've seen clinically, with very few exceptions. Okay. Those are the 3 things I would do. Screen your clients better, learn the 6 dynamics of an unconscious response and teach it to your clients before you put them in trance. Learn the principles of body-centered energy psychotherapy, all of which we teach in Identity by Design. And I teach a lot of this. I teach a lot of the things also on our webinars, so you can get it for free on YouTube, right? But if you want you want to be able to actually embody the trainings, then either buy the Identity by Design home study course, or come to Identity by Design, or, because some of my talks will feature this stuff, click this link and join us for one of the 7 talks that I'm doing at the Best You Expo, March 3rd, 4th, and 5th, live in Los Angeles. The tickets are free. You can come in person, upgrade to VIP, or attend virtually. Highly recommend you click that link and get your name in. Elisa, that was exactly what I was going to ask. I believe what I desire is beyond what the world is ready for. How might you suggest I step into this role for the world sooner? Very simple. Look at your end result and ask yourself the question: what do I have to be, or what result would I achieve right before I achieve that? What result would I achieve right before I achieve that? What result would I achieve right before I achieve that? And create a backward track of milestones, right? And start working with those. And the reason I say that is, if you're one of those people that is so far ahead of the curve that people can't relate to what you're doing, I've been there a lot. Like a lot. It was actually, I used to think that what was obvious to me when I was researching a lot of these things was obvious to everybody. It turns out it wasn't. And a lot of people did not respond well to my insights and my revelations. In fact, they pretty much wanted to burn me at the stake. And that's everywhere from the Society of NLP to some of the martial arts trainings I was in, and some of the martial arts masters that I dealt with. There are some people move through the world that are ahead of their time, and they create things that are amazingly cool, but they're so far ahead of the curve that people can't conceive that it's even possible, and it conflicts so powerfully with what they already believe to be true that they just want to burn you at the stake, metaphorically or literally, for espousing it. Okay. So what I have found is the safest track is figure out where people are, have your process lined out ad infinitum, but backtrack it and find the place that's ahead, but closest to where they're at. Teach them that. Give them the experience of it, and then take them to the next level. That's actually what we do in all of our live events. It's one of the reasons that the people who come to like Identity by Design or Killer Influence get so good so fast, because it's not based on knowledge. It's based on a set of experiences that we give each student that expands their willingness to accept what's possible. We all have a very, we can all conceptually embrace these quantum leaps. We can conceive of them, but we can't. But there's a part of us in most cases that don't actually believe we can do that yet. And a lot of times it's because they can't. The unconscious mind can't calibrate and measure the steps from here to there. So what we do with Identity by all of our classes, really, but what we do with Identity by Design is we start with where people are at, and then we give them something that's just one level beyond what they're used to. Once they can do that, we give them another thing that's just one level beyond what they're used to. And then I give them another thing that's just one level beyond what they're used to. And then what happens is inch by inch by inch by inch, they start to embody these experiences, and they realize that they can, and when they look back from where they started, they're like quantum leaps ahead, right? Anytime you try to explain things to people, you're going to run into the problem of they can conceive of it, but they can't receive it, right? They can't embody it. They can't express it. So you have to give them a set of experiences. That's why I consider what we do a mystery school, but we're a Gnostic mystery school. What does that mean? It means we're about having the experience, direct knowledge, direct experience of a process. Those of you who've ever had done spinning or the echo technique, regardless of whether you believed it when you first started or not, the moment you did it and it worked, all of a sudden what you felt was possible and what you could do expanded. True or not true? That's what we do with everything. And that's why you can't get into like our vibrational influence classes without a course like Identity by Design or Killer Influence, because there's foundational experiences that a person has to have before they can really apply, not conceptually understand and learn, but apply in a practical way the teachings. You have to have both. There's a difference, my friends, between learning something, which is always fun, and training and applying. We have to bridge that gap. We have to move from learning something cool to being able to do something cool, right? And that's why we've developed the training processes that we have in Planet Day. In fact, the last Killer Influence I had like 4 or 5 high-level hypnosis and NLP people in my training. And they had heard about some of the stuff. They tried some of it. It worked like gangbusters. And they came in, with their own preconceived ideas about how the world works. And I told those people, because they also have students, they also do lectures. I said, listen, if all you do was adopt our 3x3 training process, your students would have a quantum leap in their skill level. But don't believe me because I tell you, do it and test the results. We'll see. Not many. I've taught several hypnosis instructors this process. I haven't seen anybody do it yet. Right. And I'll tell you why. A, laziness and complacency. B, it takes longer. It takes longer to put the student through the exercises because you got to do 3 times as many in a certain way. And fourth, and again, and third or fourth, and I say this, a lot of instructors out there don't actually want the competition. It's not uncommon. I do a training at HypnoThoughts Live. I do an 11-day hypnotic training marathon. And one of the courses that I teach is called Charisma and Conversion. And it's about hypnotic presentation skills, how to use things like language patterns and anchoring and nested loops and embedded commands and from the stage to help accelerate the learning and the ability and willingness for people to rush to the back of the room and actually generate a deeper level of relationship with you. And when I say I'm having a proud papa moment is because at HypnoThoughts Live, the world's largest hypnosis convention, I have no less than 7 of my students who are actually presenting at the convention, right? And there are other trainers out there who, if their student tries to do a teaching or a training at the convention, they get really upset and they yell at the people running the convention for letting the student in. Right. So again, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but there are reasons why people hold back or don't change, or if there's a better way to do something based on the actual results, aren't willing to do it. So moving through the world, kicking over people's sacred cows, being miles ahead of the curve, these sound on the surface, they sound like, an admirable thing. Usually the world won't thank you, especially your peer groups won't. So be very careful how you go about bringing people to certain revelations, right? So I'm going to get off my pedestal now, but hopefully that was helpful. Revelation is asking, hold on a second, let me see if I can do this without losing my spot. I've used your technique and managed to end addictions and blockages, yet I seem to have doubled down on my feeling unmotivated to do anything. Can the transformational triad, I'm assuming, help with this? Yes, I believe so. You probably have to ask different questions. You have to access different resources. Okay, so go back, revisit the 6 dynamics of the unconscious response, the principles of body-centered energy psychotherapy that we teach in Identity by Design, and apply that to your neurology, and then use the transformational triad to facilitate those changes. And you'll probably put a big dent, if not completely eliminate it. Narwhal says, "Well, good old Uncle Chuck." Yes. I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember his last name. It'll pop up in a minute, but is it Cosgrove? Kazimanov. That's what it is. Charles Kazimanov. Right? Probably the leading authority I know of on psychotronics. He's a little bit gray though. So he's a little bit more on the black hat side. So you might want to be careful. Hearts on Fire. Where would you recommend to gain or purchase genuine stones and crystals? VesicaInstitute.com has some good ones. I trust Bob Gilbert a lot. I think he's got a lot of good science behind what he does. I've bought some crystals from him that my wife absolutely adores. If you live in Las Vegas, there's a place called the Rockin' Gem Shop off of Sahara, I believe it is. They have an amazing, by the way, tell them I sent you. If you go into the Rockin' Gem Shop in Las Vegas off Sahara, you go to the back of the store. There's a door off to your right. Go through that door and you will see some of the biggest, massive crystals you've ever seen. There is a quartz sphere out there. I swear it's got to be at least 10 feet in diameter. It's huge, right? The massive geodes, you name it. It's really cool. They have a lot of really cool jewelry. I don't normally promote places, but I go there every chance I get when I go to Vegas. When I teach my energy healing classes or my vibrational influence classes or my hidden laws of attraction classes, we almost always do a field trip to the rock shop. So if you're in Las Vegas, head out, say Dr. David Snyder sent you, tell them about the YouTube channel. There's a lot of good stuff there. A lot of good books too. Let's see here. What's the difference between spirit and energy? Vibration. It's really just, it's a different vibrational frequency. The way it was explained to me, your spirit body has substance, but no form. Your energy body has substance and form. Your physical body has substance, form, weight, depth, and stuff like that. So each level down adds another set of attributes, right? But that's why it's possible for you to expand your spirit body to touch the pole star and the core of the earth at the same time, because anything you can imagine, your spirit body can assume that form, right? It's not limited like the energy body is to shape and substance. So I hope that makes sense. Get Smart says, hello, y'all. Hearts on Fire says, the thought, will, and action is, so are you, what's the name of your course that comes with your book? Which book, Hearts? For FYI, by the way, there is a guy named Dr. David Snyder or David Snyder who's written a book called Speed Reading Your Clients or Customers or whatever. That is not me. I just let you know. The only books I've released are the manuals that and the Secret Orgasm Tips collection that go with my home study courses. I am working on books. I'll get them out someday. But right now, unless you buy books with somebody's name similar to mine on it, it is not me. Okay. Doesn't mean it doesn't have value. It's just not me. Psychotronics is dope. Taking me back to Beverly Rubik also does. She's more soft. Oh yeah, she's softer than, yeah. Again, Psychotronics is fun to play with. I don't have time. All right, and I don't have time to lug all the equipment with me. Jack, what has been your spiritual experience with the Goetic? Not too much, honestly. Again, I focus on my Kabbalistic practices. Again, I don't deal with entities all that much. Every now and then I work with angels. My focus is primarily on the alphabet and the 72 names. That's where the vast majority of my my focus is. So I don't spend a lot of time on the Goetica, if I'm pronouncing that properly, or Goetica or whatever. Goetia. I think it's Goetia, actually, not Goetia. Goetica. It's Goetia. Revelation. I do not have identity by design and do not have the finances for it. So what potential questions should or could I ask in order to better target the source of the issue? Point to where you feel it and then ask, if there were a place in my body where XYZ problem, where the source of XYZ problem is located, where might it be? Point to where you feel it. If my higher mind could send me a feeling, of frequency, of vibration that would completely eliminate XYZ problem and give me what I most want instead, what color or colors might it send me? Those two will get you on the fast track. It's part of the color breathing process we teach in the transformational triad. Okay. Frank Richard says, Dr. David, thank you. You are most welcome. Get Smart says, nice suit, sir. Thank you. Sir David of Snyder. I like it. All right. Liam says, at Daniel Rodriguez, go to his classes in Cali or buy his Secrets to Self-Defense class. Game changer, my friend. Thank you. What are your thoughts on nonviolent communication? I think, if I'm remembering, let me Google it really quick, just to make sure I'm talking about the right thing. Actually, better yet, have you guys played with Chat GPT yet? It's pretty freaking awesome. Hold on a second. Let me get my coffee cup out of the way. All right. I think it's better. My friend Matt says it's going to replace search engines very, very soon. My personal belief is that anything that creates more empathy and minimizes misunderstanding is a good thing. I would not say that I'm a direct practitioner of nonviolent communication, but everything that we teach facilitates the same outcomes that nonviolent communication teaches, right? In fact, it probably does it better, simply because it's based around the way the neurology processes communication, specifically spoken and written language. So let's see here. D showed A. I don't know what that means. Subliminal and meditation. What if you can't see any images or colors doing transformational triad? Pretend that you do, or use sound, smells, or tastes. It'll still work. Danka, what's the latest on your training in Spain? Right now, we had a guy that reached out from Ibiza that wanted us to work there. We actually had two people, but then we've heard crickets since. So now we're refocusing our efforts on either Ireland, London, specifically Peterborough, which is about 90 minutes out of London, or Scotland. Those are the 3 European locations that we're looking at. I took my wife to Ireland last month. She absolutely loved it. And now I have to find excuses to get back there so she can go play. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But we're looking at London or Ireland no later than 2024. If there's some way we could fit it in this 12-month cycle, we might do it. Probably not, though. Probably not. Let's see here. Jack says, thank you. Get Smart Quick says, yes, I make AI beats out of rap over them. But yeah, again, I'm playing with the AI, what's that called? It's API right now. And it's blowing my freaking mind with some of the things it can do. It's still not going to delve as deeply as humans can, but it can give you a tremendous leg up in organizing the material that you want to present, if that makes any kind of sense. Always onward. Oh, says not true business. Oh my God, seriously, I've been playing with ChatGPT the whole time. I think everybody has. That's why the site's down and why you can't get access to it. Always Onward is asking, does making a guided meditation for yourself, by yourself, from your techniques effective? Yes. Everyone, yeah. The one set of words you will always trust are your own. Remember, fundamental fact. And again, I have not found this ever to not be true. That doesn't mean there isn't some exception out there. Human beings never resist themselves. And the most powerful words any human nervous system can hear at any given moment are the ones that just came out of their mouth, or the ones they created. So creating your own hypnosis tapes, your own guided meditations, affirmations, always going to tend to be more effective than something you learn outside of you, because your body doesn't have a rejection algorithm for it. It's kind of like the difference between a transplanted kidney and a cloned kidney, right? That transplanted kidney may be super healthy. It may be doing a great job, but your body knows it's not your kidney. And so there's always a little bit of friction between it and the transplanted organ. Whereas if I take cells from your healthy kidney, I clone you a new kidney and I put that in there, there's 0 chance of rejection because it's you. You don't resist yourself. Okay. This is something we need to really understand. This is part of the rapport process. If you really understand this, then how to get rapport and connect with anybody and influence them becomes super easy. It really, really does. And the principle that we're talking about is a meta principle. It's called identification. And it's talked about under different names in different disciplines. But what we're talking about is people who are like themselves. The more like something you become, the more power you gain over it. Okay. So let's see here. Showed your echo technique YouTube content to a friend and she tried it with an elder guy and he turned out to be well, you got to be careful. See, that's not the fault of the echo technique. That's a lack of profiling. Come to Defense Against the Dark Arts and you'll learn everything you need to know to flag these people before you hook them. Okay. Dee says that was awesome. What is my opinion of the Wim Hof method? I think it's cool. If I ever need to immerse myself in ice cold water, I'm there, right? The fact that it's possible and that so many people can do it means he's got a system that works. I'm curious what else you can do with it, though. That would be my biggest question. So, okay, now I can immerse myself in ice. I have this tremendous control over my body temperature. What else can I do with that? Right? That's always my question. What can I do with it? Always Onward. How can we protect ourselves from unknown stalkers or these bad? Very simple. Learn how to profile. Best class we have for that is Defense Against the Dark Arts. In fact, if you go to the webinar I did on Wednesday, the video is here on YouTube. In fact, I have to edit the first half hour, 45 minutes off of it because it was just dead space. I actually give the most powerful profiling package I've ever put together for people. It's face reading for fun and profit level 1. It's got Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is the course you want if you want to be able to not only profile potential partners in any way, but also neutralize them or protect yourself from them. That's the course to get. Then we added people reading for fun and profit, which is all about body language and nonverbals. And then we added 3 months of the mastermind, face reading level 2, and then a VIP ticket to face reading in Dallas, which we're also doing a small face reading seminar in Los Angeles. So if you want to come out and get a little primer for what that's like, go ahead and click that link and come for free, right? The Dallas training is going to be good for people who are going to use face reading for healing applications or coaching applications, lifestyle applications. These that's what the focus of this particular 3-day in Dallas is going to be on. But go ahead and check out the package we put together. If the link is still there, you may still be able to grab a copy of that. That is the absolute most powerful course I've ever put together on how to stay safe and turn the tables on the evil persuasion predators of the world, or as I like to call them, other narcissistic a-holes, right? Let's see here. I'm not into Solomonic magic, that not so much, and largely because there's it's so pervasive in the Golden Dawn and OTO. It's just not my focus. Like I said, I'm focused on the Bardinistic traditions. I certainly do reference those other materials. I have them in my library. It's just not been my focus. Okay. I'm very happy with the focuses that I have, because they're fast and they're not nearly as complex. Do you feel like an AI is like a servitor thought form or familiar? Yes. Adrian is saying, Martinez says, I seem to always hop on your live at the right time. Well, I hope so. P.S. What do you think what about technomancy? What about it? F. Belkahira, need someone for French speaking in Arabic countries. I'm available to be your ambassadors. Okay. Well, it's possible. V. McLeod, are Scotland and London courses available now? Not yet. And the only reason they're not available is because we have yet to find a venue that's within our price range to make it affordable to people to come. That's the only thing holding us back. So if you have suggestions or contacts to secure a good venue that is nice, easy to get to, and affordable, send it to us and we'll follow up on it. Elisa J, I wouldn't ask you to put your personal business on the internet, but I must ask, would you and your wife welcome a +1? No. We're done. I've had 3. My wife has had 2. To quote an the mother of an old girlfriend of mine, this UPS truck stopped delivering. So let's see here. Well, London, V. McLeod says London, David. Actually, it's probably going to be Peterborough, which is close to London. We looked at some other places in the UK, but it didn't work out. David Snyder is the Michael Jordan of NLP. Thank you so much for that. Roma MK, David, I notice if you change your lifestyle, clean up your shite and connect with source, your face changes. Yes, 100%, 100%. In fact, you'll get visibly younger. Revelation, is the echo technique effective on getting laid? God, yes. By the way, did I say God, yes? Your boy is on a dry spell. Well, come to Attraction Mastery next week. There's 4 days. We'll teach you how to use the echo technique and more. It's a co-ed class. I have men and women in the class. You're going to be able to learn from each other, practice with each other. You're just not allowed to hook up. That's actually the one rule we have when we do our co-ed attraction classes. Men and women can practice together, but they're not allowed to get together. There's a whole city of people looking for fun and excitement. Go out and use those skills with live human beings in their natural habitat. But we highly welcome both men and women to the Attraction Mastery course. We don't do them that often, simply because I'm focused on other things. But that's kind of where I started. So For those of you who actually want some hardcore, real world proven, natural ways to generate attraction without being creepy, manipulative, or deceptive, go on out to Attraction Mastery live in Las Vegas at the Orleans. And if you can't do that, then at least get a virtual ticket or a live ticket to our free 3-day Best You Expo in Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Click that link in the box and reserve your tickets. While I'm on that subject, to be honest, I'm loving the shorts though. Cool, that's why we put them out. I'd like to average one every 2 or 3 days. So we're gonna keep that content coming. Please like and share that stuff. Let the YouTube algorithms know that this stuff's relevant and that we're helping people. I need your support to do that because YouTube pays a hell of a lot more attention to what you guys do than what I do. I'm one person, you're hundreds. So if you like and share and put this stuff out there, watch everything, then all of a sudden our family will grow and we'll be able to do more stuff. Subliminal and meditation says, how does consciousness affect random number generators? I don't know how it does it. I don't think, and I know for sure Bill doesn't know how it works either. We just know that it does. Now, if the question you're asking is what are the techniques for that? Well, Bill, the image cycling works really well. Lynn Buchanan's stuff on remote influence seems to work pretty well. And that's where I would start. Also, if you get the book Real Magic, hold on a second, let me pull up the title. Is it Dean Radin? Real Magic by Dean Radin. In that book, he gives you literally hundreds of double-blind scientific studies that prove that you can affect random number generators, a healing, the whole 9 yards. Dean Radin is the guy, and I think it's. I just want to double check the title for you. I really should get an Amazon account because I'm making people thousands of dollars just by talking about my reading list. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think the guy's name is, it's called Real Magic, I believe, by Dean Radin. And the whole book is nothing but study after study after study. Double-blind, scientific, placebo-controlled, you name it. My wife, who comes from biotech, looked at the research in that book and said, wow, this is actually really robust. So, I trust Dean Radin as a researcher. Have you done technomancy and what were your experiences? I haven't done a lot of it. It's just another way to focus and get repetition, right? However, you guys may have noticed that if you go back to my videos many, many years ago, every time I get up in front of a group and when I begin, I put this little sigil on the whiteboard. I did that to put a whammy on the room, but I also knew that this video was going to be seen by thousands and thousands and thousands of people. That was my form of technomancy. Okay. But a lot of technomancy has a lot to do with the work you've done on yourself. So again, reference, even though it technically isn't technomancy, reference once again Charles Kazamanov's work on psychotronics, and you'll have a pretty good idea what's going on. Although there's a little bit more going on in terms of if you know what an egregore is, you're building a much more powerful egregore through technomancy than you are with psychotronics. Right. At Roma K, I agree with your face change comment and add face reading skills to your rep and watch it change even faster. It will. Alisa J says worth a try. What were you trying, Elisa? What did I miss? Oh. Okay, Donka, please not the Peterborough. Really, there are better places. I'm sure there are better places, but they haven't made themselves apparent to us yet. Donka's been to our Peterborough trainings like every time we've done them, so she's a little burnt out on the bull. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on Dr. George Esterbrook's? Oh no. No, Esterbrook's is somebody's work. If you're interested in the whole MK Ultra mind control Manchurian Candidate stuff, you need to be studying Esther Brooks's work. My friend Chase, who worked for the military, had a huge security clearance. So he got access to a lot of Esther Brooks's private papers, Erickson's private papers, anybody dealing with MK Ultra. And he showed me some shit. These guys were playing with some serious mojo. Okay. If you really want to get an insight into Esther Brooks, there's a fiction book he wrote many, many years ago called Death in the Mind. And if you want to know how it's theoretically possible to create a Manchurian Candidate, Esther Brooks actually gives you some very strong hints in his fiction book, Death in the Mind. Okay. Always onward. Can you advise for always maintaining my health at best? Right now, I've acne for 2 years, tried remedies, medications, meditations, spinning, magic frame, but I still have them. Have you focused on your diet? My intuition is that something to do with food sensitivities and something in your diet that is triggering you. Roger Tomlinson, how you doing, bro? I'm good, man. Coming up on the home stretch for this, though. So let's see. Elisa J says, I admire you because you don't hold back or gatekeep. Older masters I meet hold back because I'm young. Wouldn't you agree the younger you are, the more connected you are to source? Yeah, from 0 to 5. From about 5 on, that training starts to diminish until you're just like everybody else. Let's see. V. McLeod says Peterborough will do. Oh, don't let Donka hear you say that. David Snyder is the Oprah Winfrey of self-help community with book reference. Well, thank you so much for that. Little fun factoid is that the people who run my webinar company and who helped me build my website actually worked with Stedman Graham, who is, last I heard, Oprah's significant other. Little fun factoid, not really relevant to anything, but it's interesting. These, the whole 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing, or 10 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing. Roger Tomlinson, Wolverhampton, UK. Yay, buddy. How do you consider fibromyalgia? Can it be a psychological? Almost always psychological. And it can be, and if psychological, it can be trauma induced for sure. 100%. Thanks. Egregores remind me of Mark Starvish. Okay. I'm not familiar with that name, but that doesn't mean anything. All right. I'm gonna start putting the cherry on the sundae here. Specifically, this is you put on your whiteboards forever. I have theories, but I really want to know. Everybody wants to know. Ha ha. Come to my classes, be a mega. Or perhaps if you click this link in your chat and you come to the Best You Expo or our Identity by Design or our face reading class, I'll let you in on the secrets. Right? I'm teasing you. Yes, I am, because that's how I get you to change. I have to tease you. Right? If I just give you everything over the internet, you won't take the actions I need you to take to become the person you want to be. Right? I'm not saying it because I don't love you or that I don't want to share with you. It's because of the basic default programs to human nature. I need you guys to get off your asses and take action if you want the things you say you want. Remember, I said the universe will always test you. And that question always comes down to, how bad do you want what you say you want? And that question is easily answered. What are you willing or not willing to do to get it? That's the secret, right? There's a great book you might want to pick up. It's about a legendary character known as the Amazing Atom. His real name was Greenbaum, I believe. I can't remember his first name. I think it was Irving. He was this little 5'5" guy. He could bend steel bars with his teeth. He could pull large airplanes with his hair, right? Or is it Joseph Weinstein? Oh, damn it, now I got it. Anyway, Google The Amazing Atom. There's 2 books out. One is by his manager. The other is about him. Get both of them. Because one of the things you'll if you look really close, he gives these little keys to how he was able to do the things he was able to do. And part of it goes back to what I just told you. The other part was he was also studying Kabbalah. So I will leave it at that. Let's see here. So D is saying, I tried the echo technique. Oh, wait. Okay. I tried the echo technique every time I met a guy whom I had to know years, but he became more open and willing, shared a lot of. Yeah. This is like the hidden passcode to the human nervous system. If you truly want people to connect with you and appreciate you, the echo technique is the fastest way to do it. And then once you're in the system, remember, echo technique gets you in the system. What are you going to do with the system once you have access to it? That's up to you. But echo technique gets you there. Okay. Can't stress it enough. The more I try to find something better, the more I come back to the echo technique. Period. End of story. It hacks everything. Don't believe me. Just go use it. See what happens. Right. Let's see here. Okay. When you mentioned the book Death of the Mind, you reminded of books of Rape of the Mind. Rape of the Mind and Rape of the Masses. P.S. What some good books of crowd psychology? Best one to start with is actually Influence the Psychology of Persuasion by Dr. Robert Cialdini, because it's the playbook that most people use to influence people on a mass scale. Now, if you want to get into the darker, more radical side of things, there's a book called Rules for Radicals, which is all about creating these radically polarized social movements that get people fired up. So start with Influence the Psychology of Persuasion and get Rules for Radicals. So Liam says, I will hold you to that promise. I will come and ask you personally. Bravo. Amelia, are you doing a workshop in Costa Rica this year? We do not know yet. We talked about it. The problem is that to get into my vibrational trainings, you need prereqs. And so if we get enough people, which means about 30 or more, who qualify, who have raised their hand to come to the Costa Rica event, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll probably wind up doing something else. But we are doing a vibrational healing event in end of July, beginning of August at the HypnoThoughts Live Hypnosis Convention. So you can take Identity by Design on the front end, go through 3 days of the convention, and then do a vibrational healing all in a row. So it's 11 days, 10 or 11 days. Megamind says, what would you recommend for healing spasmodic torticollis? You know, the person to ask that question would be my wife, Dr. Dawn. If you give her a call at 481-1438, you'll get my clinic. Set up a consultation with Dr. Dawn, tell her what your issue is, and she'll give you the best approach. It'll probably have something to do with acupuncture and ART though. Arts, David Snyder, thoughts. What's the best way to get financial freedom? I just have what type of value I could provide to you online to get there. Okay, well, that's the fastest way to financial freedom, my friend, short of winning the lottery. Find something that people want, provide tremendous value, and charge an equal or greater level of an equal amount of value in return for it. Find a group of starving, hungry people, put your signs and messages in front of them, and just keep going. Right? That's the fastest way to do it. If you really want what you say you want, right? If that shit were easy, everyone would do it. Sometimes it's not easy, but it can be simple, right? It's a simple formula, but most people won't. First of all, most people won't even do it the first time, and even fewer people will actually stick to it, right? I want you to think about something. And again, this is for anybody who wants to be successful if you're not already. I want you to go back over my YouTube channel. How many years have I been doing this? Look at when we started that channel. How many years have I been doing this? And notice how much of what I do is the same this year as it was at the beginning. That's what I mean when I say you find a formula that works, you keep doing it. You keep doing it, you keep doing it. Most people don't. They don't stick with something long enough to actually gauge and customize the process to themselves. And then they want to change it every 5 minutes, and they just don't stay with it long enough. The secret to being successful is being relentless. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I love you all. You all have, if you could see yourselves the way I see you, right? I'm going to create a course someday called Unleash the Magic Within. And it's all about blasting open the potential inside of you. There's magic in you. I see it every time I watch. I see every time I guide you through a process, how the magic wells up and changes you from the inside out. You think it's me, but it's really not. It's just me opening up that part of you that's unlimited. And for that moment in time, you get a transformation. But the ability to do that has always been in you. It's your birthright. Okay? But you gotta pass the test. You've gotta be relentless. And that never stops. Anybody who tells you that once you get to a certain level, it's easy street, comfort zones are great, but nothing ever grows there. Okay? Take that for what it's worth. That being said, David says you should bring your wife to one of the lives, please. We have many questions for her. I'll ask her and I'll see what she says. Anyway, Crohn's disease, clean up your shit, go to an acupuncturist and get a good checkup based on acupuncture. You'll probably have a much better outcome. Thank you, David Snyder. You are like God. On that note, please click this link. Join us at the Best You Expo. Bring your questions. Meet other interesting speakers, not just me. There's going to be, again, there's hundreds of speakers there, tens of thousands of people, and just do the drills and get the skills. This is Dr. David signing off. Go out, make your life everything you want it to be, and then pay it forward. Good night. God bless. Have a great